Namo Namaha Bhavtam Sarvesham Hartam Swagatam. Welcome back to the channel Sanskrit Sopanam. I hope you are doing great. I am also good. And moving on in our series learning Sanskrit through Gita. Today we have the 29th shloka from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. From grammatical point of view, a very fairly easy shloka to understand. So without wasting any more time, let's quickly dive in today's video. Okay, so here's the shloka, and as you can see, again there is a shift of the chandas, shift of the poetic meter. So from the usual Anushtup chanda, we have again moved to the Upajati chanda. So that is what you can see in the structure of the shloka. But anyways, let me go through the shloka once. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidenam, ascharyavad vadati tathaiva chanyah, आश्चर्यवच्चैन मन्य शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्. Okay, and one thing you can notice, kaschidenam. So I broke the part here, the pada here. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidenam. Okay, kaschidenam, and then we are starting with this ascharyavad vadati tathaiva chanyah. So it is just moving on to the next line, but the same pada is there. Okay, and as for the sandhi, so you can spot one sandhi here, kaschidenam. So between kaschit and enam, this is the jashtva sandhi. And this is also the same jashtva sandhi. So ascharyavat, the takara changing into the dakara. Ascharyavad vadati. Okay. And then you can also spot a sandhi here. Chanyaha. So it is cha anyaha. So it is a dirgha sandhi. Okay. Cha anyaha, chanyaha. Okay. And then we spot another sandhi here. Ascharyavat cha. So this is the shchutva sandhi. That is when any ta varga comes in contact with any cha varga. So then the ta varga letter, it changes into the corresponding cha varga letter. So this ta is changing into the cha. That is why you see ascharya vachcha. This ta changing into cha. Okay, so the example of shchutva sandhi, and then immediately after this you have this vriddhi sandhi. Cha enam, this is changing into chainam. Okay, and then it is just combining with anyaha. So chainam anyaha. Okay, so one thing you can notice, this particular shloka has quite a handful of sandhis. Okay, then again you see a sandhi here, shrutva api. So this is the dirgha sandhi again. And then you have a yana sandhi happening here, api enam. So this is the yana sandhi, api enam. This is changing into this, apyenam. And so together these three pada are shrutva apyenam. Okay, three different padas joining with two different sandhis, dirgha sandhi and the yana sandhi. Okay, and lastly we see another sandhi happening here, chaiva. So cha eva, again a vriddhi sandhi. So cha eva changing into chaiva. So these are all the sandhis. And again, as usual, all the sandhi details, all the word by word breakdown in the PDF sheet. Download that PDF sheet from the link in the description box. We'll just directly move to the decoding of the shloka now. Okay, and we are starting with this kriya pada pashyati. Okay, you can spot few kriya padas in this shloka. So you have pashyati, then you have vadati. Then you also have Shrunoti, then you have Veda. So we have few different Kriya Padas, and all the Kriya Padas are basically following a similar kind of structure. So we will see when we decode the shloka. So anyways, we are beginning with this Kriya Pada, Pashyati. And Pashyati means some third person, he or she sees. Okay, he or she perceives, he or she watches in that sense. And this Kriya Pada, this Dhatu Roop is coming from Drish Dhatu. Drish Dhatu, very common Dhatu, that means to see. And the form also is very common. The present tense, lat lakara, third person, that is prathama purush, and singular, that is ekvachanam. Okay, so in these three properties, this drish dhatu, this changes into pashyati. Again, some third person, he or she sees in that sense. And again, as we will see with all the kriya padas, all the different kriya padas, no, they are all in this same structure. The present tense, third person, singular only. Only the roots are different, verb roots are different. Okay, and that is why again this shloka is so easy to understand grammatically. But anyways, he or she sees. So the obvious question is kaha pashyati, who sees? And the response we get is kaschit pashyati. Okay, kaschit, this structure we have seen so many times before. That with our kim pronoun, this particular pronoun, we usually add this chit or chena when we have to give the sense of some arbitrary person, some random person. That if I simply use the prathama vibhakti ekvachanam of this kim for a masculine gender, so we get this kaha. And this kaha means who. Okay. So this is generally used in the sense of when we are asking the question that who. That is why I am using here kaha, who sees. But when we have to give the respond in the sense of some arbitrary person, some person sees, because we are not sure of that person, we are not talking about any particular person. So when we have to reply in an arbitrary sense, we add this chit or chena. You see the use of both these affixes. So with this kaha, when I add this chit, so again due to sakara sandhi, in this place of this visarga, you get this shakara, that is sakara sandhi. So the entire pada becomes kaschit. And the meaning again is someone, some person in that sense. Okay, and this follows for all the different forms of this kim pronoun. For example, if you are using this Shashti Vibhakti Ekvachanam of this kim, so it is kasya, and kasya is whose. So suppose you found a book and you are inquiring whose book is this. So you use this kasya. And then suppose someone has to reply that someone's book, that we are not sure whose book, someone's book. So in that case, with this kasya, we will just add this chit. Okay, so the entire pada will become kasya chit. That kasya chit pustakam, that we don't know whose book, someone's book. Okay, so I hope the use of this chit and chain addition, this is clear. And so the statement we get is kaschit pashyati, that someone sees. Okay, in a general sense. So the subject, the karta of the action is clear. Now we are inquiring about the object, the karma of the action, that kam pashyati, that someone sees what? And the response we get is kaschit enam pashyati. Okay, and this enam, again, no need to explain this. This enam means this. And by this, we are basically referring to this self. Okay, this Atma. This enam, of course, coming from the idam pronoun. Idam pronoun is referring to this in that sense. And by the way, by now you may have noticed this, that there are 4 sarvanamas. 2 that represents that and 2 that represents this. Okay, that referring to anything that is far away from the speaker. And this, anything that is close by to the speaker. So the 4 sarvanama are etad, idam, adas and tad. Okay, these are the 4 sarvanamas where etad and idam, they both represents this, and adas and tad, they both represent that. And this order you can remember. This order is basically the increasing distance from the speaker. That's something that is very close to the speaker. We generally use this etad. Then it is close but a bit farther than this etad. So we use this idam pronoun. Then a bit more farther we use this adas, and the farthest we use tad. Okay, and this is how you can remember this. In generally, you don't see the use of this adas pronoun much. We generally use these 3, tad, etad and idam. But again, these are the 4 sarvanamas. 2 represents this, and these 2 pronouns, they represent that. Just take a note of this thing. Okay, but anyways, we have this statement, kaschit enam pashyati, that someone sees this self. And again, the obvious question will be, someone sees this self as what? That is why I'm asking the question katham, that someone sees this self how? And the response we get is kaschidenam ascharyavat pashyati. Ascharyavat, that means as a wonder. Because see, in this pada, you can easily spot this ascharya. And ascharya again means wonder. Okay, awe in that sense. And then when we add this vat, so this is basically done in the comparative tone, that like this. Okay, ascharyavat, like a wonder, in a manner of surprise, in a manner of awe. So in that sense. Okay, so ascharyavat, as a wonder in that sense. And so now the entire structure is kaschidenam ascharyavat pashyati, that someone, some person sees this self as a wonder. Okay, so I hope the meaning is clear. And this same structure, no, this kind of same structure is going to repeat with all the other kriya padas. And so if we move on, so now you have anyaha ascharyavat vadati. Okay, now here we are using a different karta. We are saying anyaha. And by anyaha, we are basically saying some other person. Okay, so we said some person sees the self as wonder, and then we are saying some other person, anyaha, vadati. That is, some other person describes it, some other person talks about it, ascharyavat, in a wonder, with surprise. Okay, so I hope this is very clear. Vadati, this is coming from vad dhatu. And as we saw, the form is again same. The present tense lat lakara, prathama purush, that is third person, and singular, that is ekvachanam. So vad changing into vadati, that some person speaks, some person describes. So anyaha ascharyavat vadati. And then we again have a third kriya pada, that is shrinoti. And shrinoti, this is coming from shru dhatu. Shru dhatu means to hear, to listen to. Okay, from this dhatu we are getting this shrinoti. And now we are saying anyaha enam ascharyavat shrinoti, that there are some who listens to this self with wonder. Okay, so the entire structure is pretty easy to follow. And then lastly, Krishna says that shrutva api, shrutva. Now we are using the kridanta, that this shru dhatu means to hear. This shru dhatu is being modified using tva pratyay. So we get this kridanta shrutva. And the meaning of shrutva is after hearing. Okay, so shrutva api. And api, again, this is the indeclinable. This is an avyaya, that means also. Okay, so basically with shrutva api, we translate it as even after hearing. That after hearing also, better rephrase it as even after hearing. Okay, so Krishna is saying that even after hearing about this self, na kaschidenam veda. Okay, so kaschid means some person. And na kaschin, we are basically negating it. So no one in that sense. So na kaschid, no one, enam, this self, Veda, understands. Okay, because this dhatu roop also is coming from the dhatu with. With dhatu means to know, to understand. Okay, so Krishna is saying that Shrutva api na kaschidenam Veda, that even after hearing about the self, no one actually understands it. No one actually properly gets it. Okay, so this is the structure so far, and now let us again quickly go through it along with the Anvay and the Anuvada. So kaschidenam ascharyavat pashyati, that someone sees this self as a wonder. Tathaivacha, and likewise tathaiva is another indeclinable avyay, and tathaiva means similarly, likewise, in that sense. Okay, so someone sees this self as a wonder, and likewise anyaha ascharyavat vadati, and likewise someone else describes this self as a wonder. Okay, and anyaha cha, and yet another Ascharyavat Srinoti, and yet another hears about this with wonder. Okay, so basically Krishna is saying that this self, the nature of this self, this Atma, this is like a mystery to so many people, because someone sees it as a wonder, someone describes it or speaks about it as a wonder, and someone hears about it in a wonder. So for all of them, this self, the perception of this self is a mystery, is a wonder. Okay. Because in the end he says that Shrutva chapi, and even after hearing, na kaschidenam Veda, no one actually understands this. Okay, that even after approaching the cognition, the understanding of the self from different angles, is still na kaschidenam Veda. Still, no one actually understands this. Okay, so this is the entire translation of the shloka. With this shloka, Krishna is again pointing about the rarity of Brahma Vidya. He's talking about the this rarity of self-realization, of self-experience. So this phenomenon is indeed very rare. Okay, and with this he's basically calling us out. He's basically prompting us to act, and to act with all the sincerity, all the diligence, that this is a path that is, again, he's not sugarcoating the terms. He's saying that this is indeed a difficult path, but again, the path is also given to us. And that path is the 3 steps. That is the Shravana, proper listening, the Manana, proper reflection, and Nididhyasana, a prolonged contemplation on them. Because this is the only way we can realize that, experience that. And with this, there is one more thing that Swami Chinmayanand, he very brilliantly points it out, that this phenomena of self-realization, of self-experience, of Brahma Vidya, this is indeed rare. But there is something that is even rarer, and that is the people who, after experiencing it, can express it. Because once you have experienced that reality, that is so wondrous that you are just left speechless, that there is no words you can find to express it. But then, such is the glory of Paramatma, that throughout the history of mankind, we have always got such people who are those rare gems that are able to express that inexpressible in a language that our limited, our finite intellectual capabilities can understand. So people like Gautam Buddha, people like Mahavira, people like Guru Nanaka, then people like Zarathustra, people like Jesus Christ, all these people are those who are able to express that inexpressible in a language that is understandable by us common people. Okay, in that language, in that symbolism. Then we also have so many gurus, so many acharyas. We have Adi Shankaracharya. Then we have Swami Vivekananda. If you read this, the way Swami Vivekananda expresses the thoughts, then you already feel that he is actually expressing something that is way beyond our intellectual capabilities. But the language with which he is able to express it, that is very rare phenomena indeed. So because these questions happens, these doubts happen, that okay, even if Lord Buddha, he attained this self-realization, but his disciples, we don't see many, later stage, we don't find many Lord Buddhas. Similarly, we don't find many Guru Nanakas again. So what is it? That is this self-realization so rare that only a very few, in centuries, there are only 1 or 2 people who attain this. So if this is so rare, that why even bother? But Krishna is not implying that. Krishna is probing us to act. And the examples that we have, Lord Buddha, Gautam Buddha, Mahavira, Nanaka, so it's not that after them, there are no disciples of them who did not attain this self-realization. It's just that once they have attained that self-realization, the ability to express it, that is even rarer. And that is only reserved for only few. And that come time and time in our history of mankind. So we get people like Vivekananda, we get people like Shankaracharya, we keep on getting such people who are able to express that inexpressible. But this in no way means that this phenomena of self-realization is limited to only few. Okay, it is again indeed rare, But a lot of people are able to do that, are able to attain that, because the proper steps are mentioned in the scriptures. We just have to, again, Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. We have to follow that structure. We have to keep our faith in our gurus, in our acharyas, in our rishis, and just walk the path. So that is what Krishna is trying to imply with this particular shloka. And I hope the entire structure of the shloka, everything was clear. Grammatically, again, a pretty easy shloka. Any problem, any doubt, there is the PDF sheet. You can refer to it, download it from the link in the description box. I'll now meet you in the next video with another shloka. Until then, stay awesome, stay happy, keep learning Sanskrit. Vayam punah milamaha. Dhanyavad.